I love to see the leaves changing colors, pumpkins appearing on doorsteps, and watching squirrels gather acorns for the winter. I can't think of a more inviting way to celebrate the fall than sitting with a hot cup of coffee or chai tea with a pumpkin spice biscotti. To make pumpkin spice biscotti, you will need 4 tablespoons of softened butter, 2/3 of a cup of white sugar, and 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar mixed together. You'll need 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. You'll also need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You'll need 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 3/4 of a cup of pumpkin puree, 1 egg, 1/2 cup of dried cranberries, and 2.5 cups of white flour. To get started, preheat your oven to 350 degrees and into a large mixing bowl add your softened butter, your 2 sugars, your white sugar and your brown sugar, and all your dry spices. And we're going to cream this together using an electric mixer. In your electric mixer, just beat it until it's all incorporated. Your next addition is your salt, your baking soda, your baking powder, your vanilla, 1 egg, and your pumpkin puree. And you'll just beat this until it's all incorporated and smooth. Now it's time to start adding your flour, probably in about 2 or 3 batches, and just keep beating until it forms a dough. Once you're happy with your dough, and you may want to add a little extra flour, it will really just depend. It's time to add your cranberries, and using a wooden spoon, just mix your cranberries into this very thick dough. After your cranberries have been added, you want to flour your breadboard and turn your dough out onto the breadboard, and we'll form it into 2 loaves. Okay, once it's on the board, just using your hands, turn it and just kind of pat it. Now we're going to divide this into 2 equal parts, just using a pastry scraper. After you've divided your dough into 2 portions, you just want to pat them down using your hand and using your pastry scraper, kind of square them off. You're looking for these to be about 10 inches long and about a 1/2 inch thick. And your final addition before we transfer these to our parchment lined baking sheet is just to rub the top with some powdered sugar. It's about a tablespoon of sugar on each one. This is optional. Now into our preheated 350 degree oven for 30 minutes for our first baking. Our loaves are out of the oven, and now they just need to cool before I slice them. Our loaves are now cool to the touch, so it's just a matter of cutting them into about 1/2 inch slices and then returning them to the parchment lined baking sheet, where they'll go back into the oven for the second baking at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. And once they've baked for 20 minutes, just simply turn your oven off and let them cool completely in the oven. The final step is just to drizzle your biscotti with melted white chocolate. And then once these are dry, they can be stored in a Ziploc bag and freeze for up to 6 months, 3 to 6 months. This pumpkin spice biscotti drizzled with white chocolate makes a delicious fall cookie, crunchy and flavored with all the flavors of the season. Is it any wonder that we all love the fall?